But let me tell you something. Dementia, right, and amyloid, you can have a brain full of amyloid but still have your cognitive functions. Yeah.
Can you explain that?
So when we have so much sun, we feel tired.
Yeah, why is that?
Because of the vitamin D receptors on the brainstem.
Because it's using...
Yeah, because when you get the vitamin D from the sun, when it's converted, we improve our vitamin D in our blood on that day and we just get tired.
Yeah.
But do you see what I mean? You have to be healthy to sleep.
Yes. I really think like if you that's your baseline right there. That and exercise. And you said those are 2 of the 3 of the pyramids. So that makes sense.
Yeah, the reason why I do it in that order, I used to like struggle between sleep or exercise. It turns out that you can reverse the detrimental effects from one night of sleep deprivation with exercise.
You can.
Yeah. So if you have a bad night of sleep, maybe you slept 5 hours, go to the gym and you'll feel a lot better.
I always, when I was in college and we go out and rip it, always the next day, like a couple of us would go get a good workout in. So that's good.
Yeah. I think the rise also in diseases and people understanding now more about like high performance is because we're just living in this world where we're just like, New York is expensive in and of itself just to eat healthy.
100%.
Like just to eat healthy.
Yes. That's the problem with healthy foods. They cost a lot more. The processed foods are what's on the, dollar menu.
Yeah.
Like that's where it feels like the fix is in. But also when I think about what it took to get that there versus the processed food that they can make in mass, like quickly, it does mathematically make sense. It just creates a poor incentive structure. That's why we're a society where even in, say, like our lowest impoverished communities, we have obesity problems. Whereas all previous societies on the face of the earth, the poorest people are the ones that were the skinniest because they couldn't get any fucking food.
Yeah.
But the food we're feeding people that they can afford at the lowest level is so bad for them that they're getting fat.
Well, look at the foods that are subsidized in this country. What are they? Cereals? The white grains, like it's the ones that are just going to put you into metabolic dysfunction, increase your risk of type 2 diabetes and obesity.
Yeah. That feels like a fix because I know like Jesse Itzler is always hitting on the cereal thing. Like he hates the cereals. He'll take a thing of Raid and like spray the cereal, and he's not that wrong. Like he's like it's pretty accurate because they're giving you, I guess it ties into some of their food pyramid bullshit, but like they're giving kids like the worst possible things they can have at the start of the day. They're getting sugar in their system. They're getting processed grains, if that's even what it's called, and we wonder why we see a rise in things like ADHD and stuff like that.
Yeah. And even with Alzheimer's disease, this amyloid, right? It is an antimicrobial peptide, meaning that it is there and we need it because it's antimicrobial. So once it thinks it's under attack, it raises the level to protect itself. It's like the brain is like, hey, I'm under attack. So then amyloid comes out and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to fight off whatever's coming towards us, right? I'm going to fight it off. But then it just sticks there and it just stays there. And if we don't sleep and don't clear it out, it just sticks there.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because once you get mild cognitive impairment, which is a pre-dementia state, which I hate that term, by the way, because it's the first state before getting Alzheimer's disease. It's not like we say to you, you have mild metastatic cancer. No, that's not what you have. Mild cognitive impairment there's nothing mild about it, right? So once you're in that state and then you progress to Alzheimer's disease or Alzheimer's dementia, that is your brain saying, that's it. I'm at the mercy. I've give up, guys. All the amyloid's out and the amyloid is here and it's here to stay. And that I did that, Louisa, for you because over the last 20 years, you put me under so much stress.
Yeah.
You didn't feed me the right foods. You didn't even let me get the adequate blood flow because you weren't exercising. You didn't put me to rest. So here we go. I've got 4.5 grams now of amyloid in my brain. You want to get rid of me? Go ahead. It's going to be $70,000 a year. But also, I'm probably going to bleed and hemorrhage from the back of my brain and maybe eat away at the other tissue of the brain. So I'm probably going to be demented anyway. So what do you want to do?
When you get to that, I forget the term for it, but the pre-dementia phase.
Yeah, mild cognitive impairment.
Is there a way working with someone like you that you could reverse some of those effects?
I wouldn't use the word reverse, but slow the progression. So if you had it and we say maybe you're going to get dementia in 10 years, we could say, well, let's do it in 20.
That's still so sad.
It's still extreme.
It's
but let me tell you something. Dementia, right, and amyloid, you can have a brain full of amyloid but still have your cognitive functions. Yeah.
Can you explain that?
So amyloid, you've got it's Alzheimer's disease is a multi-proteinopathy. So there's two proteins involved. You've got amyloid, which sits outside of the brain cells, which interferes with the connection. But then you've got tau, and tau sits in the microtubules, right? So it breaks down the microtubules of the brain. So you've got two things at play here. If we can preserve the connections, we've seen people with that don't have dementia, and they've got their cognitive functions, but they've got a brain full of amyloid. So that's why it's a disease that we still don't know that much about.
But if someone's not in that pre-dementia phase, they haven't gotten there yet.
Correct.
That's where you might be able to use the word reverse.
Yeah. Well, I still wouldn't use the word reverse. Dr. Dale Bredesen, he's a wonderful neurologist who works on this. He uses the word reverse. I still would be cautious of that word because it's extremely hard and individualized. But then you can get about doing things that can help you clear out those proteins. We've seen in multiple studies that that saunas can ameliorate this. We've seen at a low level that omega-3 fatty acids can ameliorate these.
Simple things.
Simple things.
Yeah.
Sleeping well.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, I'm a huge believer in that. Just like I feel like your energy levels are a really good determinant of how healthy you're going to be in the long term for all types of debilitating diseases. It's not the only thing for sure, but like if you constantly feel pretty good and ready to attack the day, chances are you're probably doing some of these habits correctly.
Oh, 100%.
Fair to
or
say.
You've just been given the gift from your parents.
Now, did you have like a personal experience with Alzheimer's disease that got you into really caring about this?
No, in 2019, my father had a stroke, and we've seen some, decline in his cognition over the past 4 years. However, nothing other than me looking at society and thinking 55 million people, that number's going to triple, and we don't have a cure, but we can get to space. That's not okay with me.
Yeah.
Especially because it is a preventable disease.
Do you think we'll see a cure for it in our lifetime?
Mine and yours?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hope so. I don't think there's going to be a cure just yet. What I think is that we're going to have better ways of managing the disease. It's my dream to have a cocktail of different things if someone has Alzheimer's disease, whether it be through some form of the FDA approved drug, not, a lot of it, maybe clearing out some of the proteins, building up some of the other neurons, looking at different gene profiling, like with CRISPR, how can we use stem cells and gene manipulation to help the process?
Can you explain CRISPR to people? That's really fascinating to me.
I actually can't.
No?
No.
Can we pull it up? CRISPR. So there was a documentary on Netflix that came out maybe like a year before the pandemic. I remember I watched it shortly before the pandemic, where it was showing a bunch of biohackers with this stuff. It gets a little crazy. But CRISPR, short for clustered regularly interspace short palindromic repeats, is a technology that research scientists use to selectively modify the DNA of living organisms. CRISPR was adapted for use in the laboratory from naturally occurring genome editing systems found in bacteria. So essentially, people are trying to change
their genome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, to then be able to fight off potential diseases that they're predisposed to, or also you start getting into like changing your biological age with that, essentially.
Yeah. And, there's genes responsible for, everything, right? Longevity, for example. There is a gene called Klotho, Klotho. It was named after the Greek god Klotho as well. So
you Greeks get everything.
We've got everything, right? And I always put it out there, right? But so they are, that can be used. I know that there's some early work that is being used to look at the Klotho gene for Alzheimer's disease patients as well. And this gene is downregulated during neurodegenerative diseases. So they're thinking, well, how could we include Klotho as a method of helping these patients, but that involves gene manipulation.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.